there is a silent cruelty in the way the world looks at you. A cold calculation hides behind every glance, measuring your worth before you even speak. You've felt it in job interviews, in networking rooms, even in casual conversations. Before you offer value, before you reveal your intelligence, you've already been judged, and often you've been dismissed. This isn't about fairness. It's about efficiency. The human brain doesn't want to work harder than it has to, so it takes a shortcut. It reads your appearance, your posture, your tone, and makes a decision. Do you look powerful, or do you look like prey? Do you appear competent or invisible? In this world, perception isn't decoration, it's survival. You may have been told, what matters is what's on the inside. But how often has your inside been ignored? How many times have you watched others less capable, less moral, get the opportunities that passed you by, simply because they looked like they belonged? This isn't bad luck. This is the brutal geometry of perception. And until you understand it, everything will quietly work against you. But here's the truth most never hear. You can change the signal. You can learn to bend perception. There is a way to hack this psychological mechanism, a method to radiate confidence, status, and potential, even if your pockets are empty. You don't need to be rich to stop looking poor. What you need is discipline, awareness, and a strategy. This video will show you how, not through empty motivation, but through psychological warfare. You will learn the laws of first impressions, the power of image as armor, and how to weaponize every inch of your presence. Because when you stop signaling weakness, the world stops treating you like a victim. You've walked into rooms and felt the temperature drop. You've seen people scan over you like you weren't there. That ends now. The game is perception, and if you want to win, you must become the architect of how the world sees you. The world is not built on truth, it is built on perception, and perception is rarely fair. The mind doesn't wait for evidence. It leaps to conclusions in milliseconds, faster than thought, faster than intention. That means, before your resume is read, before your words are spoken, a verdict is already forming in the mind of the observer. And the harsh truth is this: that verdict is shaped by how you look, how you carry yourself, and what you signal to the world. This is not a moral failure of society. It is an evolutionary feature of the brain. Humans are wired to assess threat, value, and status instantly. It's a survival instinct born in the wild, where hesitation meant death. Today, the jungle has marble floors and high-speed internet, but the instincts remain. When someone walks into a room, our brain scans posture, grooming, facial expression, even micro-movements, and from these cues, it builds a story. That story determines how they will be treated. This phenomenon is well documented in psychology. The halo effect tells us that when we see one positive trait, say, someone looks confident and well-groomed, we tend to assume they possess other positive traits, like intelligence or competence. The horn effect is the reverse. If someone appears unkempt or anxious, we assume deeper flaws, laziness, ignorance, weakness. These are not conscious judgments. They happen automatically. And worst of all, they are sticky. First impressions don't just form quickly, they last. Studies show that even when presented with evidence to the contrary, people cling to their initial perception. Now imagine how dangerous this is for someone who looks poor. And I don't mean financially poor. I mean poor in energy, poor in posture, poor in presence. When you dress without care, when your body slouches, when your face apologizes for existing, you are sending a subconscious signal: I am not important. You don't need to take me seriously. And the world listens. Think of how people treat the homeless. Do they wonder about their backstory? Do they stop to ask about their character? Rarely. Because their appearance triggers a deep, primal reaction. Avoid, ignore, walk past. It's not always cruelty. Sometimes it's fear or discomfort. But it always begins with the visual. This is the geometry of perception, the invisible math that calculates your social value before you get to prove it. Let's go deeper. In a study on facial appearance and leadership, Researchers found that people judged candidates with certain facial features, symmetry, strong jawlines, alert eyes as more competent and worthy of leadership, regardless of their actual abilities. Another study revealed that job applicants who dressed formally were rated more intelligent and capable than equally qualified candidates dressed casually. These weren't small margins. These were significant gaps in perception that determined hiring decisions. In other words, your appearance is not a costume, it is data. It is a non-verbal resume. It's your first speech, and in many rooms, it's your only one. Yet most people ignore this. They cling to the delusion that if they just work hard enough, someone will notice, that their talent will eventually shine through. But the world is not waiting to dig for your gold. It wants shine on the surface. It wants the signal. This is why people who look confident are trusted with leadership, even when they're wrong. This is why people who move slowly, speak less, and dress cleanly are treated with respect, even when they've done nothing to earn it. Because perception precedes performance. You are treated like your image before you are treated like your essence. So the question is no longer whether this is fair. The question is, what are you signaling? Do you slouch when you walk? Do you avoid eye contact? Are your clothes wrinkled? Is your phone screen cracked? These are all signals. Signals of chaos, signals of insecurity, signals of lack. And in a world where perception dictates access, these signals cost you more than you realize. Because when you signal weakness, the world does not offer support. It offers silence, indifference, or exploitation. But there is a way to reverse this. And it begins not with changing who you are, but with changing what the world sees when it looks at you. There's a reason kings wear crowns, generals wear uniforms, and CEOs wear tailored suits. It's not just tradition, it's theater, strategic, visual theater. Because power must be signaled before it can be granted. And in this performance of status, image is not vanity, it is a weapon, it is armor. And if you do not wield it, the world will not hand you the script you deserve. Let's dismantle the lie first. Looks don't matter, it's what's inside that counts. That phrase was not created to empower you, it was created to pacify you. It was a lullaby designed to keep you from competing. Because those who understand perception know that the inside is only discovered after the outside earns attention. Think of the world as a crowded room. Everyone is shouting, everyone is selling. Your image is your signal flare. It's the reason someone chooses to look your way in the first place. Without it, you are background noise. With it, you become a candidate for opportunity. But what does image truly mean? It's not about expensive brands or flashy accessories. In fact, many wealthy people dress simply, but they dress deliberately. The image of power is made of discipline, intention, and control. A crisp shirt, clean shoes, sharp grooming. These are not luxuries, they are declarations. They say, I care, I command, I am ready. Because appearance, unlike talent, is entirely within your control. You can't change your genetics, but you can trim your nails, shine your shoes, fix your posture, and walk like you know exactly where you're going. You can enter a room with presence instead of apology. That's the difference between looking poor and looking powerful. This isn't about impressing strangers. It's about broadcasting competence. It's about aligning your exterior with the value you carry inside. When your outer world looks chaotic, the assumption is your inner world is no better. If your clothes are stained and wrinkled, if your phone screen is cracked, if you slouch when you sit, you are sending messages of disorder. People do not invest in disorder, they avoid it. A polished appearance, on the other hand, triggers what psychologists call positive expectancy bias. People expect more from you, they trust you faster, they defer to your judgment, even without proof, because you've already passed the test of discipline. And discipline is the foundation of trust. In professional environments, this matters deeply. A study by CareerBuilder found that 72% of employers say a candidate's appearance influences their hiring decision. Why? Because the way you show up signals how seriously you take the role and yourself. If you can't care for your presentation, why should anyone believe you'll care for their business? But this goes far beyond job interviews. This applies in negotiations, in dating, in friendships, in influence. Your image creates frame advantage. When you enter with power, people play your game, not theirs. You dictate the tone. You control the conversation. You walk into a boardroom dressed like a commander. People sit up straighter. You walk into a cafe with poise and stillness. People move out of your way, not because you said anything, but because your image spoke for you. That is the art of weaponized image. To speak before speaking. This is why the fake it till you make it mindset has power, not because you're faking who you are, but because you're preemptively signaling who you are becoming. Confidence is not always born from success. Sometimes, success is born from the illusion of confidence. This is the paradox of power. When you look like you don't need anything, people want to give you everything. And here's the deeper truth: image shapes identity. The mask, when worn long enough, becomes the face. This is not deception, it is transformation. When you hold your posture like a king, when you groom like a professional, when you speak with the calm gravity of someone in control, you begin to believe it. Your mind aligns with the message your body broadcasts. This is called embodied cognition, a psychological principle where your physical state influences your mental state. Walk faster and you feel more energized. Stand taller and you feel more confident. Look polished and you behave with intention. The outside rewires the inside. It's also why poverty is not just financial. It is postural, it is behavioral, it is linguistic. You can earn 6 figures and still look poor if your body slouches, your clothes are careless, and your eyes dart around the room in fear. Conversely, you can be broke and look formidable if your movements are precise, your appearance is intentional, and your presence is grounded. Understand this. Humans follow visual cues. It's biological, it's tribal. We associate strength with safety, order with capability, cleanliness with authority. These are primal associations. You can either resent them or use them, because when you look powerful, people assume you are. They hesitate before disrespecting you. They offer better deals. They speak more carefully. They do the work of elevating you because your image commands it. And that's the true gift of mastering your image. Not just that you gain respect, but that you stop having to ask for it. Long before a word escapes your mouth, your body has already spoken. It has told the room whether you're confident or cautious, dominant or deferential, someone to notice or someone to ignore. Most people never realize this, but your posture, your eyes, your hands, your speed of movement, they all scream something about you. And for many, what they're screaming is weakness. This is what we call the poverty gaze. It is the look of apology, the behavior of someone who has learned to shrink, to avoid conflict, to disappear in plain sight. It's the habit of breaking eye contact first, the nervous smile when insulted, the twitchy gestures that betray insecurity. You may think these are just personality quirks. They're not. They are social signals, and predators are always watching. Just as wolves detect the limp in a deer, humans detect the anxiety in a man's stance. When you move like you do not belong, the world agrees. When you hesitate, when you dart your eyes, when you laugh to fill silence, you tell the world, I am unsure of myself. You can lead me, you can dismiss me, you can step over me, and the world will. But power, true power, is silent. It does not fidget, it does not beg, it holds. Watch a predator in the wild. A tiger does not announce its presence. It waits, calm, coiled. The CEO at the table speaks last. The negotiator lets silence stretch until the other side breaks first. This is power, not loudness, but stillness. When you control your body, you control the room. A steady gaze, a deliberate movement, the refusal to rush, these are high-status behaviors. They trigger curiosity, respect, even fear. People lean in. They wonder, who is this person? Why are they so composed? They fill in the blanks with their imagination, and they fill them with power. Embodied presence is not about pretending, it's about reclaiming. Reclaiming your space, your breath, your right to be where you are. Poor body language is not humility, it's self-sabotage. And the worst part? It's often subconscious. Most people don't know they're signaling submission. But predators do. So begin with awareness. Train your eye contact. Stand still when you speak. Speak slowly. Breathe through your nose. Take up space. Walk into a room as if you are welcome, because that belief, once embodied, becomes contagious. People begin to treat you as if it were true. Remember, the man who moves with purpose looks like he owns the path. The man who moves with hesitation looks like he's trespassing. Who would you follow? It's not just your body that signals status. It's your environment, your companions, your context. Humans don't judge in isolation, they judge by association. And this is where most people lose the game without realizing it. You can spend hours perfecting your grooming, your outfit, your posture. But if you arrive with friends who act like clowns, in a car that screams desperation, into a space that feels chaotic, the illusion breaks. Because perception is contextual. It's framed by everything around you. This is why politicians stage their speeches with flags, lights, and applause. Why luxury brands spend millions on store design. Why elite people choose who gets to sit next to them at events. Because your surroundings shape your perceived value. Let's get practical. You may not be able to afford a luxury car, but if your car is falling apart, don't pull up to the front of the building. Park around the corner. Walk in tall. The distance you walk is the price you pay to preserve the frame. You may not be able to afford an expensive restaurant, but you can take a meeting at a quiet coffee shop, wear a pressed shirt, and speak with poise. A king in a cafe still looks like a king if he owns his presence. It's not about faking, it's about framing. A photographer doesn't lie when he excludes the garbage can from the shot he curates. You must do the same. Curate your context. That includes your digital presence. The man who posts every thought, every meal, every frustration looks spiritually impoverished. He appears desperate for validation. But the man who posts rarely, who speaks only with intent, who shares only when it matters, looks like he has a life too rich to document. Scarcity creates value. In silence, you gain power. Even more crucial is the company you keep. If you are surrounded by men who look defeated, who dress without care, who speak with victimhood, their energy contaminates yours, and the world sees it. You may be exceptional, but if you arrive flanked by fools, you are painted as their leader. Optics don't care about your intentions, they care about what people see. Audit your circle. Ask, who elevates my image? Who makes me look like a leader? Who drags me into the narrative of failure? You don't have to abandon old friends, but you must compartmentalize. When it's time to build, to network, to rise, walk with those who look like warriors, not jesters. Even the smallest details matter. The screen of your phone, is it cracked? That tells the world you live with broken things. Your shoes, are the heels worn out? That tells the world you don't finish what you start. The frame of your glasses, the shine of your nails, the scent of your body, all micro-signals that shape macro responses. And here lies the paradox. When you curate every element of your ecosystem, when you eliminate the signals of struggle, when you frame yourself like someone who matters, the world begins to agree. People treat you as a peer. Doors open, invitations arrive. Not because you became someone else, but because you finally stopped hiding who you are behind signals of lack. The world is shallow, but it rewards those who understand how deep that shallowness runs. You don't have to be rich to stop looking poor. You just have to stop broadcasting brokenness. The world judges. It judges fast. It judges ruthlessly. And most of all, it judges visually. That's the law. You can deny it. You can argue with it. You can cry about how unfair it is. But laws don't change because of emotion. They change because of understanding and execution. What you've learned here is not just information. It's ammunition. You now understand that poverty is not only about money, It is about signals, the signals you send through your body, your clothes, your eyes, your voice, your silence, or your noise. Looking poor is not about being broke. It is about giving off the scent of defeat. The world smells it. It recoils from it. But when you strip away that signal, when you wear discipline like armor, when you walk with intention, when your eyes no longer ask for permission, something begins to shift. The resistance fades. The rejections slow. People start to ask for your opinion. They lean in. They offer opportunities, not because you changed your soul, but because you finally showed it wrapped in a form the world can recognize and respect. This is not manipulation. This is self-respect. This is marketing your value. The world is overwhelmed. It's not cruel because it hates you. It's cruel because it doesn't have time to notice you unless you make it. And the only way to do that is to become undeniable at first glance. So here is the challenge. Stop dressing for comfort. Start dressing for command. Stop speaking to be accepted. Start speaking like your words have weight. Stop entering rooms trying to prove you belong. Start walking in as if you do, because you do. Do not wait to feel confident, to look powerful. Look powerful to become confident, because the mask becomes the face, and when the face speaks the language of strength, the world bends. You don't need permission to start this transformation. You don't need wealth. You need will, a pressed shirt, a steady gaze, a voice that no longer trembles. These are not luxuries. They are tools. They are weapons. Use them. If you've made it this far, then you already sense what others don't. The game is real, and now so are you. Walk forward with the discipline of a man who has killed the servant inside. The world will meet you at the level you present yourself. Wear the crown. The gold will follow.